Hannah here and some others. So I'm here to talk about the charge to the graduates. What we're this, just a charge where something to concentrate on as you guys move on with your lives. So I'm going to start with my life verse. It's Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. That has been my personal life verse since about my sophomore year in high school. So welcome, graduating class of 2019. Wow. Congratulations for making it here. It is an amazing accomplishment. You all did very well on your speeches, and your tables in the back, they look amazing. Good job. Additionally, I'd like to say good job to all of the parents, all of the siblings, all of the grandparents, and everyone else who played a pivotal part in getting these graduates to this point. So this is my first charge to our graduate speech that I've ever prepared, since these are my oldest here. And to be honest, I wasn't quite sure what to speak on. Ultimately, I decided to speak on living with an open hand and trust in God for the future. So in preparing for the ceremony today, I began thinking back to my own graduation. And to be honest, I really don't remember it much at all. Most of what I remember about it is because someone had forethought to take pictures, and I remember those pictures. I was more excited to finally be able to start my life. And so, I didn't really consider school part of my life. It was just something to do until the next stage of life. So I had some fairly outrageous dreams about my future while in school. I was convinced that once I was finally able to get out of school, that I would work as one of the top investment bankers on Wall Street, own several skyscrapers in downtown Seattle that would be leased out, and own a nice penthouse in the city where my wife and myself and maybe one or two children would live. God has a sense of humor. My children would be in public school, my wife and I would both work long hours and make respectable incomes, and we would have the perfect life, and we would retire by age 30. I started out chasing this dream by getting my stockbroker license and buying several rental properties. I worked between 60 and 90 hours a week to try and save up to force this dream into a reality. I was miserable. My wife and children rarely saw me, and I was already stressed and burnt out. The list of priorities that I had taped on my monitor at work were my God, my family, my job, and myself. But as my actions showed, I had these priorities completely reversed. As time went on and I continued to struggle with my dreams and the reality that I might not actually be retired by age 30, and that I might not have those skyscrapers that I envisioned for so many years, I first got a bit depressed. That I was a failure and that I couldn't turn my dreams into our reality. After sitting in that stage of life for a little while, I began to release my grip of those dreams. As these dreams began to fade into the ludicrous thoughts and backgrounds where they should have been all along, God began to grab hold of my life and insert his dreams in for mine. I began putting that list of priorities on my monitor, my God, my family, my job, and myself, right side up. At various points along this path, God changed my thinking about how a man is to be the leader of his family and how children are actually blessings and rewards. I'm so incredibly thankful to God that he did not let me attain these dreams. I am fairly confident that if he would have allowed these dreams, my trust would be on worldly possessions and not on God. I am fairly confident that Michelle and I would only have had 4 children, since it was after Brianna that God changed my heart about children. There are many biblical examples about how our dreams may not be what God wants for us. Job did not want his children to die, or his storehouses to be destroyed, or his health to be impaired. But God's perfect will allowed this to happen. Jeremiah wanted to marry a nice girl and have a family, but instead God used him as a prophet of death. Jacob's son Joseph had many dreams, but he did not envision going through slavery into prison and becoming second in command of all Egypt to have these dreams become a reality. So my charge to you graduates is this: have dreams, have big dreams, and shoot for them, but always be willing to let those dreams go if it means that you will be following Christ. Learn from my mistakes and the mistakes of others of holding on to your dreams too tightly. If God has to pry your fingers apart to get your dreams, then it is an idol. And he will lovingly do whatever it takes to rip that idol out of your life, which I am personally grateful for. Graduates, I leave you with this. What rights do we have as clay pots to say to the one who made us, the potter, that we don't like the purpose that he intends for us to fulfill? And again, I leave you with my life verse, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. Thank you.